in terms of splitters and just in general, folks, what could they be doing in terms of the other parts of the application for UCLA specifically? Even we got a question about the optional essays. You mentioned optional essays for things like standardized test scores or even other soft factors like letters of rec. What should folks be looking to do to optimize those?
Well, so one thing UCLA that is very UCLA specific, there is a question which says, are there any of our programs that you're particularly interested in that you think you could contribute to? Don't try to make something up there, but if there is something you're specifically interested in, sure, feel free to share that with us and the committee, because we're looking to bring in a very diverse group who are going to have a wide variety of backgrounds and interests in our programs. So feel free to share that. But beyond that, and don't just answer optional questions, try to come up with something to say. But if there is something that you feel you want to say based on your academic performance or your standardized test taking, by all means, that's why we ask them. Now, beyond that, you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I wish I had some amazing advice, right, with regard to letters of recommendation, but it's really pretty simple. I mean, you need to reach out to the people that you think know you really well, have seen you demonstrate the skills you're going to use in law school and as a lawyer, and get them to write you the best possible strong letter of recommendation you can. And most letters that we get are good, but there are some every year that are not so good. And so if you're approaching somebody and they don't seem really enthusiastic about it, then I would move on. And then there are some that are just stellar, right? They really go into detail. They clearly know this applicant. And they say things that are just, you know, incredible. And those are few and far between too. So you just try to get the best ones you can. And right, like when you're in that group, right, where 50% of the people with those numbers are getting in, that's where those things make a difference, right? Your letters of recommendation, your personal statement, any of our programs you're interested in, your interest in the school, your work experience, any obstacles you've overcome, leadership positions you've held, community service, public service. Those are all the kinds of things that the committee is taking a look at.
Right. So I guess a big takeaway I'm getting from this, at least, which kind of confirms my understanding, is that numbers play a big role, obviously, but there is a certain amount of space for those edge cases where these soft factors could push somebody over the edge, especially relative to somebody else who didn't have quite so compelling letters of rec or those optional essays or just the resume.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, numbers play a role for a number of reasons. One is that the whole point of the LSAT is it's supposed to predict how you're going to do in the first year of law school. But that's it. Not what kind of lawyer you're going to be, not how you're going to do beyond that. And obviously there's always exceptions to that. But also the Law School Admissions Council reports these scores in bands for the very purpose that law schools should not be making decisions based on small differences in scores. So we try not to do that. On the other hand, we're ranked based on these things, and prospective students seem to care about rankings. Employers seem to care about rankings. So we got to pay attention to rankings, and it's sort of a double-edged sword, right? Because, you know, you got to pay attention to what now it's not your average, so that's good. It's just your median. So you have to pay attention as to what your medians are. But that's nice, because once you're below the median, which half your class is going to be, that's what a median is, you can focus on a lot more of these factors because they're not going to impact rankings like if it was an average.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate you bringing up the point about the score band, because there is that margin of error or score band of 3.5 or so points on each end. So right. A 163 could have also been a 160, could have also been a 166. There's that element of luck, which is why I think, at least, that you don't need to take the LSAT only once. You could retake it and through luck alone do a few points better. And if not, as you said, typically there's that weight on the higher score. So
yeah, exactly.
It's worth taking into consideration.
And the unfortunate thing is that despite that, depending on where you're falling in a school's applicant pool, it can matter because of rankings. And so that's just something, again, people just have to understand what the process is and how it is. And if you do your research right and you're applying to a range of schools, you're going to have great options when you're done.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.